can expect to see a really comprehensive look at the entire spectrum of the work being done across the globe on combined cycle and hypersonics technology, both in the experimental and in the analytical phase.
I think it's going to be a really exciting session. It's going to be looking at emerging, exciting new technologies and seeing how we can advance these in the coming years.
Those who wish to attend the space transportation technical sessions at the IAC, what can you expect? You can expect to learn the most exciting developments in rockets, rocket engines, transportation systems that take people and hardware from the surface of the Earth into outer space, how to land on other bodies, all of the action that moves people and hardware around in the spaceflight. All of that will be at the IAC 2019 in Washington, D.C.
The attendees can expect to really learn something new about what it means to be a human in space and how that will evolve, and alternative ways of seeing culture evolving in space besides science and engineering.
The whole week at Washington, we will have a session when we are going to discuss the first result from the recent mission, such as InSight or the Chinese lunar lander, and also what we do to prepare for the next step for Moon, Mars and beyond, science and exploration in the solar system.
This year we had 41 abstracts for only 18 speaking slots, and so this year's session forced us to be very rigorous in selecting high quality talks. So we have a very exciting 1.5 sessions actually that will cover topics from gateway habitat concepts to lunar habitats, construction based on in situ resources for Mars habitats and greenhouses, and even some very specific design topics like bathrooms in space.
I think on the education side, there are a lot of interesting topics focusing on really hands-on experiences, so how you can do outreach activities and education activities with hands-on hardware, or through basically links to the space station, for example, and I think those are very interesting projects that we want to highlight at the IAC.
The very hot topic on Mars for the next decade is Mars sample return. So we have selected a keynote talk at the introduction of the first session on the Mars sample return plans that are being built together by NASA and ESA in particular.
And also due to the major technological changes that are coming along, which enable new types of missions that have never been before possible, like constellations and small satellites. In addition to that, with the computational technologies like graphical processing units and cloud computing and artificial intelligence and machine learning.
So our session this year will allow the attendants to get a glimpse of what's happening all over the world in terms of sharing the adventure of space, and especially focus on the Apollo anniversary celebration. So you will hear from what's happening in Mexico, the Netherlands, France, Japan, and so on.
We have very thrilling topics like when your very accurate mass spectrometer will look at what comes from Europa, can you be spoiled by what comes from the spacecraft? And so you have to make a distinction between what comes from both sources, and it's thrilling engineering issues.
We have a shared session with the United Nations, and that session focuses on particularly emerging space nations. And so we are expecting participants from Africa, South America, Central America, Southeast Asia, North Asia, etc. Besides that, we have a session on access to space, which is basically talking about launchers. And what we have there is we will have a keynote that will look at all the small launcher initiatives that are around to lower the cost of launch for small satellites in particular. And then we have sessions on mega constellations, and we have a session on deep space exploration with small satellites. And so quite a wide variety alongside all the normal sessions on nanosatellite and microsatellite technologies.
As you all know, the IAC is the place to be if you want to be aware of the future of space activity. And in my session, we are preparing these new technologies by doing nanotechnologies, by doing MEMS, by applying new type of manufacturing like 3D printing. And so this allows you to develop new type of thermal control, new type of optical system, new type of very reduced systems which can be integrated in smaller satellites, which will be the future of space.